Igor was known in his course as a prankster and fun lover. He was so notorious that on April 1st, half of the medical university would look around, fearing to become the butt of a joke among peers. Even the teachers were wary of his pranks. "Did you hear about yesterday? Goranovervi put a frog in the dean's desk," a freshman said, during a meeting. When the dean opened his drawer, out jumped a fat, warty frog. Rumor had it the secretary bringing tea fainted, and Goranovervi faced expulsion. Even the police were called. "Nothing will happen to him," a senior student concluded. "His parents are millionaires and sponsors of our university. They'll just lightly punish him for appearances." "That's not fair," exclaimed another freshman. "We get scolded for every little lateness. And here he is, putting frogs in the dean's office." The senior student replied, "Whether it's fair or not, that's how it is." And poor Polina from his course. Goranovervi completely tormented her. She is always crying because of him. He hides her grade book, makes mean jokes at her expense. Once, he even locked her in the morgue during a practice session. After Igor graduated, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. 5 years later, he surprisingly showed up at the alumni party with gifts for everyone. He had learned about the party through an anonymous email. Igor was still the same joker, but he looked different. No longer in ragged jeans and a trendy leather jacket, but in an expensive business suit and a neat hairstyle. "How did you find out about the gathering?" asked Volodya, now a brilliant surgeon. "I have my ways," joked John. Polina, the girl he used to tease, laughed remembering his antics. "Sorry for any hurt I caused," Igor said. "I actually liked you back then." They reminisced about past pranks. Igor announced that he was helping his father in business, not practicing medicine, which puzzled many. At the end of the evening, he offered to walk Polina home, hoping to start anew. Polina, seeing a mature man in him, hoped he was no longer the reckless prankster of the past. Half a year later, Igor, another classmate, told his parents he was getting married, surprising them as they thought it might be another one of his pranks. Igor, known for his pranks, wanted to pull one last joke on his fiancée before settling down. Pretending to be dead, he collaborated with his friend Kolya, a morgue worker, to make it realistic. But Kolya warned him about the potential shock it might cause. Despite the risk, they proceeded with the prank, sending a photo of Igor seemingly dead to his fiancée. Awaiting her reaction, Polina's phone chimed while she was sitting with her friends in a cafe, choosing her wedding dress, opening the photo on her phone. She initially didn't understand what was happening, but knowing her fiancé's habits, she just smirked. "What's this? What happened to Igor?" exclaimed her friend Katya, turning pale. "Relax." Polina smiled. "He's just joking around, trying to test me before his bachelor days are over. He wants to see if I'll freak out or just shrug it off." Silly him. You can tell he's never worked as a doctor. Selling sports equipment and opening a gym is not the same. This is horrible. How can someone do that? He needs therapy. "Polina, are you sure you want to marry this madman?" Katya was concerned. "I do love this madman." Polina smiled. "What will you do? How will you respond?" Another friend asked. "I won't do anything. Let him wait for a reaction. Honestly, he's acting like a child." Polina laughed. Meanwhile, Igor eagerly awaited a response, expecting either an engaging game or a scandal. But none of that happened. As he approached his father's mansion, he noticed a crowd of neighbors. "What's the noise about? Any fight?" he asked cheerfully. The neighbors, looking worried, stepped aside. "We're sorry for your loss, Igor. Stay strong," one of them said. "If you need anything, just say." Confused, Igor saw a hearse parked outside with a coffin and a wreath reading, Dear Peter, we remember and mourn. Rushing to the driver's seat, he found it empty. Fearing something had happened to his father, he dashed inside. Mom! Dad! He yelled. His mother, Elena, appeared, startled. What's wrong with you? Son, where's Dad? Igor rushed to his father's office, only to find him emerging from the bedroom, grumbling about the disturbance. You're alive. Thank God. Igor collapsed into a chair, relieved. His parents, genuinely worried about his sanity, started calming him down. Peering outside, his father saw the coffin and clutched his heart. It started. He muttered. What started? Can you explain? Igor pressed. I've made many enemies in business. Some went to jail because of me. Now they want revenge or think it's time I paid my debts. His father explained. We need to be more cautious. Maybe send your mother to the Maldives with her friend for safety. Agreeing, Igor decided to first introduce Polina to his. Piotr recounted his past, puzzled by the sudden blackmail and threats. He had never deceived or wronged anyone. His business started small, selling sports outfits and shoes from Turkey, gradually growing into a successful venture. However, it attracted the attention of a local thug who tried to buy them out and even attacked them once. During a delivery, Piotr's friend Sanier, a former paratrooper, defended them but accidentally killed the attacker in self-defense, for which he was imprisoned. Could this be from Sanier taking revenge? Igor wondered. Why not come and demand his share directly instead of sending coffins and anonymous letters? Piotr laughed bitterly, revealing that Sanier had died in a prison riot. A stubborn and honest man who would never behave like this. Who then is tormenting you? Igor asked, frustrated. In all this commotion, Elena Ivanovna didn't notice her husband's extreme anxiety and his consumption of her calming drops. After seeing her off at the airport, Igor went to meet Polina, noticing her slightly anxious voice, attributing it to wedding preparations and a hard day at work. He decided to surprise her with a bouquet of daisies, fruits, and her favorite red wine. Thank you for the flowers. Polina smiled, burying her face in the delicate petals. I'm ready to give them to you every day, just to see you happy and smiling like this, Igor said, embracing his fiancée. Let's celebrate our engagement. Just the two of us. Sure, but I'll celebrate with fruits. And you with wine, Polina responded. Igor was puzzled when Polina revealed she couldn't drink wine because she was pregnant. Overjoyed by the news, Igor was momentarily stunned before embracing and twirling Polina. I'm going to be a father. Later, they talked about their future child, hoping it wouldn't inherit Igor's mischievous traits. Igor proposed introducing their parents to each other, to which Polina agreed hesitantly. At the long-awaited meeting, Igor's parents arrived on time, but Polina's were late. What's your mother's name? Elena Ivanovna asked. Marina, Polina replied quietly, revealing she had long passed away. Igor was surprised, having never heard this from Polina. Soon, her father arrived in a wheelchair, accompanied by an administrator. Everyone was stunned to see Polina's father as a disabled man. Do you recognize me? Petier, Polina's father asked. Piotr Ilyich, shocked, recognized him as his old business partner and friend, believed to have died in a prison riot. Elena Ivanovna grabbed Igor's hand, trembling with fear and avoiding eye contact with Polina, who was visibly upset. Shall I tell the story? Or will you? Piotr, Polina's father, Grgy, asked smugly. Go ahead, Piotr replied. Grgy revealed he was actually Igor's biological father, imprisoned when Igor was 2, his mother having died in childbirth. Piotr and Elena, childless at the time, had adopted Igor. Elena wept. explaining she didn't want Igor to feel unloved or not part of the family. Georgy accused Pyotr of betrayal, revealing he only recently learned of it. Elena, protective and fierce, challenged Georgy's dramatic reveal and questioned why he hadn't approached them privately after learning he was still alive. The room fell silent, the tension palpable as family secrets unraveled in this unexpected reunion. As it turned out, Pyotr Ilyich had provided testimony to the investigators that resulted in Georgy being sentenced to 10 years instead of 3. Confronted with this accusation, Pyotr was red-faced and struggled to respond. The bitter truth was like an abscess, painful and frightening. I was forced, Pyotr murmured quietly. Those bandits threatened to kill Igor and Lena if I didn't do it. I had to tell the investigators that you were to blame. Forgive me, Igor, he confessed, appearing disheartened and pitiful. Igor felt disgusted and hurt to learn that he had been used as a bargaining chip in this affair. Georgy concluded, "You have to pay for everything. Petty, I didn't want to do this before, but now you owe me. I won't take your son from you," he added mockingly. "You raised him, after all, but your wife better watch out," he sneered. "You'll give me half of your business. I contributed to it too," Pyotr Ilyich replied dryly. "I'll think about it." But Georgy insisted, giving him a 3-day deadline before wheeling away. Polina, overwhelmed by the situation, quietly excused herself and left the restaurant. Igor followed, seeking answers. "Did you know your father was alive? We have siblings. We can't marry. What do we do now?" he asked in horror. Polina confessed that she had initially agreed to pretend to be Georgy's daughter to get revenge on Igor for years of bullying. She hadn't known Igor was Georgy's son and had fallen in love with him, which was why she had delayed introducing their parents. She never had a father, and her mother, who worked as a nurse, died trying to save Georgy Dur. Feeling betrayed and disillusioned, Igor walked away from the scene, his mind heavy with the weight of the revelations and the complexities of his family's entangled past. After capturing Georgy's confession on his phone, Igor didn't waste time. He needed to warn his father immediately. Surprised to see his son back so soon, Pyotr Ilyich quickly sensed Igor's distress and listened to him. Watching the video, which revealed that Georgy was actually a fraudster named Zurhar, Pyotr took immediate action by contacting the authorities. Zurhar had tried to claim ownership of property that didn't belong to him by posing as Georgy, the fiancé of Igor's mother. The coffin outside the Goronovies house was also Zurhar's doing, intended to intimidate Pyotr. The court found Zurhar guilty of fraud and blackmail, and he was sent back to prison. During the trial, Zurhar bitterly expressed his resentment towards his brother and justified his actions by his lifelong jealousy and impatience for quick success. Meanwhile, Igor, stung by his uncle's words, was determined to prove that he could stand on his own without his father's wealth. He went to a city hospital, where he had once interned, and asked for a job, despite initial skepticism and envy from some colleagues, who saw him as a rich man's son. Igor quickly proved his dedication and skill as a doctor. Polina quietly supported him through this period, standing by him without taking sides. Over time, Igor earned the respect of his colleagues and patients, particularly the elderly, who appreciated his respectful and attentive care. Some even affectionately called him their grandson. One night, while reading scientific articles, Igor was informed about a severely ill homeless man brought to the emergency room. Undeterred by the man's status and determined to help, Igor discovered the patient, Mikhail Lopatin, was suffering from a severe ulcer requiring immediate surgery. As he prepared for the operation, a dog howled mournfully outside, revealing the depth of Mikhail's lonely existence. The surgery was successful, and during the operation, The hospital staff took turns feeding Mikhail's loyal dog, showing their compassion for the man and his faithful companion. Waking up in a comfortable ward, Mikhail was touched by the unexpected care and comfort provided by Igor and the hospital staff. This experience further cemented Igor's commitment to his medical career and his empathy towards all patients, regardless of their background. Next to the bed, a nurse checked the medical equipment readings. "Am I in heaven?" Mikhail joked weakly. "You're awake. That's good." The nurse smiled. "No, not heaven. This is a VIP room. Who put me here? I can't afford this." Mikhail worried. "I can't either," laughed the nurse. "Dr. Goranoverv arranged for this. Don't worry. You won't be charged." Meanwhile, Igor, after the successful operation, was explaining to the hospital director his decision to place Mikhail in the VIP room. "This homeless man is also a human being. He ended up like this for a reason. If you were homeless, I would treat you and place you in any room," Igor stated firmly. "I'll pay for this room, but I won't allow Mikhail to be moved." Igor then went to the accounting department to take care of the room expenses. By evening, his noble act was known throughout the hospital, earning him respect and admiration. Mikhail spent 3 weeks recovering in the hospital, where he was well taken care of. Igor helped him get his documents and even his driver's license back. So by the time he was discharged, he had job offers from various taxi companies. Intrigued by his unique story, as Igor and Polina's relationship continued to grow stronger, Elena Ivanovna, Igor's mother, stepped in to formalize their union, insisting they get married before the birth of their grandchild. The wedding was a modest but joyous affair, and the couple received a spacious country house as a gift from their parents. Soon after, Igor was offered the position of head of the surgical department. Though he had less experience than others, his dedication and talent had saved many lives. He hesitated at first, worried about leaving Polina alone in her advanced pregnancy, but she insisted he accept the opportunity. The day after Igor left for his new position, Polina, now in labor, decided to drive herself to the hospital amidst a heavy snowstorm. Stranded and in pain, she was rescued by Mikhail, the man Igor had saved weeks earlier. Mikhail, realizing her condition, helped deliver the baby right there in the snow. When Igor arrived at the hospital the next day, he was greeted by his parents and the newest member of their family, a healthy baby boy they decided to name Mikhail after his lifesaver. The story took an unexpected turn when Polina recognized Mikhail as her biological father, having seen a photo of him in her mother's belongings. Overwhelmed with emotions, they reunited, filling in the gaps of. If you enjoyed the story, give it a like, and watch the following video.